Hey everyone, so today we're going to be starting a series where we're going to be covering the most effective and easiest to learn openings for chess beginners, rated from 0 to 1500. This will give you a comfortable repertoire, which is basically the openings you feel comfortable with and know a little bit well. So I'll give you some of those openings with white and black, show you how to play them, show you the plans, the first couple moves, the first couple of theoretical moves, and the middle game plans. So today we're going to be looking at the London system. Quite a famous opening, especially at lower levels, since it is, again, very easy to learn and very effective. Notice how it's an opening that is seen a lot, I'd say starting at 1000, and it's still seen a lot on elite level, so the top players in the world. So the London starts out with these moves. Now, you can reach this by various different ways of playing. For example, black can play on the first move knight f6, and then after bishop f4, e6, and again, these moves are different, but basically the structure we want to reach is this one. Yeah, we want to reach, you'll see in a couple moves the sort of setup we want. So this is why it's such a good opening to learn. You don't have to know a lot of theory, meaning you don't have to memorize a lot of moves. You just have to know the plans and where the pieces are supposed to go. So what we want is this structure. So we want our pawns here on a triangle in the center on d4, c3, and e3. We want our bishop on f4 and knights on f3 and d2. And after a couple moves, for example, bishop d6. Now through all these moves I'm going through, there are a lot of sidelines, or some sidelines. I'll leave this study on Lichess in the description, so you can go there and prepare a bit for your games if you want to, or just learn a little bit more about the London. So you can check more specific things there. Here I'm going to cover a very nice line that has quite a high number of master games. But basically, this is the setup we want. And so from here, there's a whole lot of games being played, even by masters, roughly 1,000 from what I'm seeing here. And this is the setup we want. We want this pawn triangle in the middle, and the rest, this is how we want our pieces to be placed. And so let's go through a couple moves. For example, b6 is the most popular move here. Black wants to develop the bishop, since it doesn't have any scope here. And the basic point, excuse me, we're gonna see the move queen e7 in this video. b6 is the main move. Queen e7 is the second most popular move. Has almost 200 games of masters. And so after queen e7, we go knight e5. So the whole point of the London system for white, one of the points, is to greatly control the center, especially d5 square. So black at all costs wants to break with e5 to free up his bishop and give himself more space. And we want to control it. That's why we put our bishop on f4 in the opening, our knight on f3, our pawn on d4. We're greatly controlling the square. And usually, when black threatens to go e5, we need to stop that threat, address it, by putting a piece on e5. So here, we're making sure black cannot push e5. We just have to make sure that this piece is defended enough times. So here, black has 2 attackers. We have 2 defenders. And if your opponent has the same number of attackers as you have defenders, then you shouldn't be losing any material. That's just a nice little rule of thumb. So here there are 2 moves. Well, basically there's only one move, which is knight d7, the most played move. Bishop takes e5 is an alternative, but it's not very good. It's a dubious move. Because after we take with the pawn, sure, they have ruined our pawn structure. But the point is that we have the bishop pair now in an open position, which is very good for the bishops. And after knight d7, we have to support this. We go f4. And basically, after f6, trying to break free, we get a very nice bind on the position with this pawn. So yes, the pawns are doubled. Looks ugly. But these pieces actually don't have a great deal of activity. And we can think about kingside attacks in the future. Because again, this pawn is controlling black's whole position. So again, the London is all about controlling the e5 square. So the main move is knight d7. Now black has 3 attackers, and he is threatening to win a pawn here by trading everything on e5. Notice how f4 now is not the most effective move because black can scare the knight away with f6. And now we're not getting any bind on e5. We're just going to have to trade this knight or drop it back. Not ideal. So here we go knight takes d7. Again, these are some sort of specific details you have to remember, but in general, not too hard once you get the idea down. After knight takes d7, black is completely obliged to take with the queen, which is a very funny looking move. He cannot take with the bishop. This is a huge blunder that actually has 28 master games. So you can see how black really has to know this position well. After this, we can go for a forced sequence. So we trade on d6, we trade on c5, and we go for the beautiful move bishop takes h7. So we're sacrificing a bishop for a pawn. So we're going down material. The point being that after king takes, which is forced, we go queen h5 check, king g8, again forced, and knight e4, which is a beautiful move. So we're trying to get this knight to g5 to threaten mate. And meanwhile, we're also attacking this unprotected queen and threatening to win material. Notice how this knight is not actually hanging because there's a pin here, so we could just take their queen and go up queen for 2 pieces, which is just devastating for black. So they have to either attack our queen back or move their queen away. Now, if they attack our queen, the whole point why bishop takes d7 a couple moves ago is bad, and this is why chess is so hard. You have to see many moves ahead. Is that now we can take the queen on c5, and after pawn takes h5, we can take the bishop. And so we have regained the piece that we sacrificed, and we're up a pawn, if you just compare the number of pawns. So white has a very big advantage here, almost winning. So what black has to do is move the queen away, but now comes knight g5. And here white is just winning, because we're threatening mate, there's no piece that can protect it, and the rook's going to have to move to give the king some space to run away, and then we can take on f7, since that pawn is no longer protected when the rook moves, and it's just great for us. So a couple moves ago, black has to take with the queen. Looks like a very unnatural move, and it is. If white wants to, he can go for the same sequence, and this time it leads to a perpetual. A perpetual means a continuous series of checks that is just a draw, because no side wins. This time black has g6, and we cannot take the bishop. So we have to go queen g5, and through this first series of moves, this is a perpetual. So a draw. Again, white does not have to go for this many moves ago. He can go for other moves in this position. But again, this just shows the power of the London, that black really has to know what he's doing very well. Otherwise, he can just get crushed, especially if you know your lines very well. If you don't and just want to know the plans in general and play with those concepts, it's all good. But if you, go a little bit deeper into London and actually know some stuff move by move, then you'll have much better results. So now I'll show you a game that was played in 2017 between a Grandmaster and an International Master. So white plays the London system, and you can see through different starting moves, we reach a very similar, well, the same structure. Black goes for a different line, b6. And so the point of this is to postpone developing the knight to c6 and to play knight d7 instead. Now white here plays a very thematic plan in the London, which is to bring the queen to f3 and then to h3. Well, after rook d1, rook c8, then he brings the queen to h3. So the point of this is that the queen and the bishop converge on h7, which is a very soft point in black's camp. So if this knight didn't exist, we would be threatening mate in 1. So our plan now is to try to disrupt this knight's defense over the pawn. And yeah, this maneuver is something you definitely have to know. This game wasn't even played with precision in terms of having to memorize the moves or stuff like that. It's really just the plan in general. This plan is very effective. So after rook e8, which is already not the greatest move, White got another piece involved. Now remember, we always want to look to try to maximize our piece's activity. And especially for attacking, we want more pieces near where the attack is taking place. In this case, it's around the king, so we want this knight to be ready to hop where it's needed. And after g6, which was a huge blunder, already white is completely winning. And believe it or not, after knight takes f7, an international master resigned the game because black here is just completely winning. So this is a sacrifice of a knight for a pawn. Now after king takes, there's nothing better to do.
Check.
White can go knight d5 check, and after king g8, the point is that this pawn falls on e6, and with the pawn falls off a position because the queen and knight are too close to the king. And after, for example, knight e6, white is winning the queen because he's threatening mate as well as the queen, and this is why a couple moves ago in this position, black resigned. So again, I'll leave this study in the description so you can go there and maybe prepare a bit for your games. I hope you understood some of the basic plans of the Linden. Again, many more in the study. And I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you soon with another one. Peace out.